I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for a little while involving this society that we live in with the internet and what it's kind of created, both in a good and bad way. I've talked, a lot throughout the years about this world we live in, social media, the internet. We're all kind of interconnected more than ever before in the history of humanity. And unless you believe in Pangea, of course, no, but we, you know, I've talked about like how there are pros and cons to this world we live in, and one of the pros is that we all can kind of get to know each other. Most of you watching this video, I was gonna say all, but I'm gonna say most, like 99% of you, I probably would never even know if it wasn't for the internet. Like, cause you gotta remember, I'm 35. I grew up in a world without internet, or at least without the internet that we have today. When I was younger, the internet that we had was like AOL, Prodigy, and I mean really younger, like when I was a kid. Nobody that I knew had a computer in the home. I mean, back in the day, back in the 90s, if you had a computer, or in the 80s, you were usually somebody who had money. And nowadays it's kind of funny because nowadays we all have multiple computers in our homes, not just actual PCs, but also laptops, tablets, even phones. Smartphones are basically mini computers, right? And even our game systems now, back in the day we had Nintendo, Atari, Super Nintendo. You couldn't go online or post onto social media or chat with anybody back then. I mean, Sega Channel was one of the first ones to do that. There's a reference from back in the day, but it was a different world, and back then we were less interconnected, but I feel like we were more strongly connected with those who we bonded with. Like, we had stronger friendships because back in the day, you met somebody in real life, you bonded with them, and they became your friend. In order to hang out with them, you had to go to their house, and or they come to your house and you play your games and have a good time as friends. When you're kids. Nowadays, you don't have to do that anymore. Nowadays, you get on the internet and you log on to Call of Duty, or you log on to Fortnite, or any game you like, and you can play with people that you've never met before and probably could never meet. I remember watching The Cable Guy, the Jim Carrey movie, and he said, in the movie something about play Mortal Kombat with your friend in Vietnam, and that was in the 90s, and now we can actually do that. And what I wanted to talk about here, because you're probably wondering, what gets to the point, is the problem with the internet is that I think it gives people a blanket, not just to act like pricks, but also to be less empathetic towards another person. Everybody on the internet is a real person. Everybody is an actual human being. Some of them are good people, some of them are bad people. And I feel like a lot of folks, including myself, at times, even though I try to focus and remember this, I think a lot of folks forget that every person behind that computer screen is a living, breathing organism. You know what I'm saying? Every person listening to this right now, leaving a comment, liking, disliking, whatever you're doing, hopefully not disliking, but whatever, you do what you want. Every person out there is a living, breathing person. We all wake up in the morning. We all bleed. We all sweat. We all get our heart broken. We all have illnesses. We all have injuries once in a while in life. We all have to deal with death. We have to deal with sadness, heartbreak. We have to deal with happy times. We all have to at some point probably work, unless you're really rich or mooching off the government. Like, we all are a united front of humanity. And I think sometimes people forget that. I think sometimes people forget that everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. And I think that online you see a lot of people who are either really young or who are older and are very immature, downright stupid in some cases, forget that everyone has a story. Everyone has some kind of backstory or some kind of journey they went on. So when you have a situation where you have people being canceled and whatnot, that the cancel culture is what it's called, and like the James Gunn situation, you have these people who, some of them are innocent, some of them are guilty. And this applies to everybody who's a celebrity, even a smaller level celebrity, even like a YouTube celebrity or even like a voice actor, whoever. Whatever level of celebrity, whatever celebrity means to you, or at least some kind of, you don't even have to be a celebrity, just some kind of presence on the internet, online. I feel like a lot of times people are very judgmental. I feel like a lot of times people are very hypocritical. And I've been this way in the past too. Like I said, I'm not pointing the finger without pointing one back at myself. We've all done it. We're human beings. I think John Lennon once said we're all hypocrites at heart. I try not to be a hypocrite, but once in a while you slip up because you're in a mood or whatever. And it's interesting because I think people forget that we all have a story. Everybody has a story, I've told my story a few times, but not everybody cares. Not everybody really is that invested in me as a person to listen to my story. A lot of people who come to my channel only want the content. They only want, whether it be here on World of Geekdom talking about, this or movies or video games or whatever, and then over on Geekdom 101, anime, Dragon Ball, etc. That's essentially what they are here for, and they don't want to have a connection with you. They don't really care about, quote, being your friend, which is fine. Like, that's okay. I can never, people are on the web for different reasons. I actually spend most of my time watching creators on YouTube, when I am on YouTube, who don't cover Dragon Ball or anime, who cover things that I don't know about, so I can learn from them and learn about their content. Like, let's take, for example, Linus Tech Tips. Huge channel, big channel. I don't know Linus. I've never met him before. I don't really have any kind of celebrity-obsessed thought over any YouTuber or any celebrity, period. I've never been a celebrity worshiper ever in my life. I never understood that culture. I never got it. But it's one of those things where, like, I go to his channel for content. I don't really go there to see every single video, but I've been to his channel a few times. Not somebody who I always watch, but I watch him once in a while. And, if he should retire from YouTube, he will be missed, but people just tend to move on. After a while, you move on to the next guy. And there's a lot of other people who do similar things. And that's kind of how it is. And that's something that we have to accept as creators. So if you're out there trying to be a creator, not every channel lasts forever. A lot of times people go up, then they go down. And that's it. Other times they never go up. Or they stay on top for a long time and then voluntarily choose to bow out. Whatever. It's whatever you want to do with your life. But I think we all forget there's always a story there. There's always something that you don't know. And one of the things that actually pisses me off about the web, it actually does piss me off, is how judgmental people are. How people are so quick to create assumptions about a person. They're so quick to label other people. I can't stand labels. Like, I can't stand when people say I'm this, I'm that. Like, I understand why we do it as a culture. There's a lot of actual psychology behind this, but when you label, like, this person is this person is that, well, no, you think they're that, but what if they're not that? What if there's more to it than that? And that's why I was saying there's good people, bad people in both, because one thing that I learned as a person who's growing up is that there are truly evil people in the world, truly evil people. But there's also people who are good people who do bad things, and bad people who do good things. And I think we need to, as a culture, really accept the fact that these are people and that you don't know what's really going on. You don't know anything about these people, and you have to remember that. I don't know anything about Linus. I don't know what he does in the morning. I don't know I know he's married, but I don't know who his wife is. I don't know what they eat for breakfast. I don't know that. A few vloggers put all that stuff out there, but not everybody does. I don't know how much money he has, even though I know he has a lot of it. I'm using him as an example. Same thing goes for PewDiePie. Like, we don't really know what this guy does in his daily life. We don't know if he does good things, bad things. I mean, then there's a scandal that breaks out, like the Pro Jared thing, for example, and everybody's like, whoa, like, is this how the guy really was? And it's like, yeah, but there might be some mental problems there. There might be an issue with this guy that needs to be addressed through therapy. I mean, I know that was discussed in the whole thing. We don't know, and I think that sometimes we're a little too judgmental. Now, I'm not sticking up for any of these people or saying that you should be forgiving or any of that stuff, but I am saying that to pretend like you know somebody fully, you don't know anything. You don't know what kind of struggles, what kind of pain they're going through. Let's take Robert Downey Jr., the star of, the guy who plays Iron Man and star of the MCU and a bunch of other movies. This guy's a multi-millionaire, very successful. But we really don't know what this guy does on a day-to-day basis. We know he acts. We know he does interviews. We know that. We see that. We don't know what he does at home. We don't know who he talks to, how he talks. We don't know what kind of pain and struggle he's going through. And I hate the fact that there's people on the web, and it's a very immature and kind of stupid thing to say, who will sit there and judge. My phone's vibrating here. They'll sit there and they'll judge others and say, oh, well, Robert Downey Jr. is a multimillionaire. He never has any problems. And that's the biggest crock of shit. Yes, if you have a lot of money, you can obviously fix certain problems easier, right? If you have money, you can see the best doctors. Some of us don't have that kind of money to see the best doctors. You can take trips to relieve stress. You can hire people to do things for you. Yes, there are perks and benefits to having money, obviously. But that does not mean that life is a walk in the park, because life has a weird way of kind of balancing itself out. And you don't know what kind of pain this guy either has gone through or is going through. I mean, it's been documented he's had substance abuse issues and whatnot in the past. And these kind of things destroy families. And some of you out there have never really been in that situation before. I know I haven't, because I have never been a substance abuse guy. I've never had that problem. But he has. And life always throws these obstacles at you, no matter how much money you have or how much fame you have or how much, love, how many adoring fans. Oh, so many adoring fans. Yeah, but at the end of the day, when the curtain closes and you're not on stage, you're not on the internet, you're not in a movie, it's just you and your family, your wife, your kids, husband, whatever, right? That's what matters most. And I want people to listen to this video and remember that everyone has a story and that everyone has a journey that they go on in life. Before you sit and judge somebody and assume that you know what they're going through, assume what their motivations are, assume that you can read their thoughts, the reality is you can't. You don't know what the hell's going on with them. You don't know. You don't have a clue. And unfortunately, there's people out there who are predators who prey on this kind of shit. There's people out there who prey on the gullible. They prey on people who aren't really fully developed, cranially, brain-wise, or who have some kind of issue with them, comprehension issues or logic issues, or they're just dumb people. I hate to say that, but that's just the word that I'm going to use here to simplify things. And they'll create this sort of hate campaign. Same thing with somebody like Brie Larson. Let's use her as an example, since we're in the MCU. Brie Larson said some really dumb comments. Does that mean she's a horrible person? No, and I don't think she's a horrible person. Now, again, I don't know her. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she's a terrible person. But I guarantee you all these douchebags making videos about how much of an SJW she is and all this shit they've been saying about her, whether they're right or wrong, it's irrelevant. It's more so the fact that they are taking time to create these videos about her. And I even made one about how dumb her comments were, but I never thought she was a horrible person or this cancer or any of that shit. But people tend to judge others off of a couple of comments or off of something that they heard. They don't even do their own research, because human beings, brain-wise, our brains don't like doing a lot of research. We're actually wired to for simplicity and speed. Fast. We're too busy. We're too busy with work. We're too busy with school. We're too busy to sit there and then look at every single detail. And that's what sucks about the world. That's a problem with the world itself. But I think as we grow older and as we get more mature, I think the time should come that we do that. And we kind of at least sit back and say, okay, well, maybe there's another side to this story. Maybe she said that for a reason. Maybe she was abused. And if she was abused, that sucks for her big time. I'm using her as an example. Like I said, this could apply to a million people. And I think sometimes as people, we got to just sit back and just look at it and say, everyone has a journey. What is their journey? Are they going to tell me what it is? If they don't tell you, you got to respect that. They might not want to tell you. And they're not obligated to tell you anything. So it's one of those things where I was just kind of feeling reflective today, and I wanted to make that video and say those things. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope that I touched you in a way, and I hope that you kind of understand, hey, maybe he's right. Let's look at the possible other side of this, And again, you don't have to always do that, but before, I just feel like too many people, and this is not really my audience. I don't think you guys do this, but I've seen other YouTube channels abuse this tremendously, abuse their followers tremendously, and I don't do that. I've never done that. I've never told my followers to commit any kind of act or any kind of crime or anything that I, that would somehow boost me up, except for, promote the video. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. And that's all we should do. But people take advantage, and it's kind of bullshit. And those are bad people. I feel like those are actual bad people. But again, play devil's advocate. What if they're going through something I don't know about? So we got to always remember that. So anyways, thanks a lot. There's my phone vibrating again. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.